Are you a GEPF member who feels overwhelmed when thinking about your financial future? Ever found yourself worrying about whether you're making the right decisions or fearing that you might make costly mistakes? You're not alone, and it doesn't have to be this way. Hi, I'm Devon Naika, a trusted certified financial planner, but more than that, I'm a dedicated retire versus resign specialist, focusing specifically on the needs and circumstances of GEPF members like you. Now, every day I meet hardworking individuals who only start thinking about their financial planning a year or two before they have to retire or resign. Now, the problem with this approach is it's sort of like running a marathon with only a few weeks of training. When you wait for the last minute, you're in survival mode. It's a mad rush to secure your future. But in that rush, there's a chance that a golden opportunity could be missed or golden opportunities. Now, you might even overlook crucial details that could lead to severe losses. Now, here's the kicker. You've got a secret weapon at your disposal, a retire versus resign specialist. That's right. This is not just a financial advisor, but someone who understands the unique needs of GAPF members like you. A good retire versus resign specialist is like the captain of your financial ship, guiding you through the turbulent waters of financial planning. Whether it's property, investments, or deciding on buying a new car, these are all opportunities for you to tap into the expertise of your specialist. Now, in today's video, I'm going to explore how you can maximize your retire versus resign specialist to bolster your wealth, reduce your taxes, and secure a future that would ensure that you never run out of money. So let's get started as I head over onto the iPad. Now, I'm going to use examples here because I want to give you an idea on how you can use the retire versus resign specialist practically, right? And again, let's say you are engaging with me. Now, you're in this position right now. I'm assuming that you haven't yet left. So this is where you are now. And this is the time when you're having to decide whether you're going to retire or resign. So this is your exit period, right? Yeah, which means you've got a gap, a window period. Now, the best way to sort of leverage my skills or the skills of a retire versus resign specialist is you want to start engaging with that information right now. You want to start leveraging it right now. And the reason for this is your finance can impact you on multiple different ways. And you might have decisions in your mind now or ideas in your mind now, which might need some adjusting at a later stage. Now, I'm going to use some examples again based on the interaction that I've had with members. And again, I say the problem is a lot of members are coming right at the doorstep of making that decision, which means there's not much gap to leverage and to make certain changes, right? So let's get started. Let's assume that whether you're retiring or resigning, you want to get yourself into some type of property. And your goal behind this is you want to secure a second income, or maybe you want to build your wealth. And you're looking at the property in order to do this, right? And property sort of makes sense if you have a look at it, because property, you know, is a secure investment. It's often one of those investments that's really talked about because property growth can be very good, especially if you're purchasing in a good area. And then the rental income becomes a second income. So again, if you are retiring and you're concerned about GEPF or concerned about the annual increases, now you've got a backup income. If you're resigning and you're concerned about the markets or taxes, now you've got a backup income because you've got a second one. Now I want to start to analyze this goal of the property just so that you can start to see this a lot differently, right? And again, I'm motivating you why you want to engage with your retire versus resign specialist a lot earlier than the end game. Now, if you look at property itself, in the beginning, you have to make a decision whether you're going to buy in full, so you're going to purchase this in full, or you are going to finance it. If you are purchasing that in full, that means you're using a significant chunk of your capital. And that significant chunk of capital means you're losing out on some disposable income, right? Because your money is tied up. So you're losing out on the disposable income. Your money gets tied up. You can't really sell a property very quickly. There's a process behind it, and there's a lot of cost behind the property sale as well. If you had to go into finance, now you want to start to analyze, hey, what's the actual interest that's being charged here? And how much are you making as a profit? What's the sort of return if you have to factor the rental income? In addition to this, you want to start to analyze what are your initial costs? Because in the beginning, the cost of securing a property can be a bit high. Obviously, there's the cost of the property itself, that cost. Then you might have transfer duty. This is the next element that might come into play. You might have the your cost for the attorney. Actually, you will have the cost for the attorney. And there's a lot of other costs that would come up. For example, levies, the utilities. So you've got to outlay a significant amount of capital in the beginning. And what tends to happen in the beginning, when you are getting someone to rent from you, let's say you are collecting rental, initially the rental income is a bit low, and gradually that income will increase. So over a period of time, this is where this can become an advantage. Now, again, you are outlaying a significant amount of money in the beginning, and your return can come at a later stage. Let's look at the next concept that I want you to be mindful of. When you look at the rental income, that is a second form of income to you. And the rental income is going to be added to your other income. So I'm going to say other income here, but let me rather be a bit more specific. Let's call it your retirement income, right? Because whether you retire or resign, you're going to collect an income, and this is going to be added. So what SARS is doing is they're going to add the two. When they are adding the two, naturally that means your income is higher. And because your income is higher, it means your tax is higher. So in essence, what's happening is the property is a good investment, but behind the scenes, you want to start paying careful attention to this. One factor that I shared with you now, which is the initial cost, is it practical? Is this really the best investment for you upfront? Then from a rental perspective, you're now collecting that, which is going to increase your tax. Then I want you to think a step beyond this, right? What happens at the time that you close your eyes? So on death. Now, if this is your second property, then you would have to factor capital gains tax, right? Unless you have to pass this all over to your spouse, in which case they could do a rollover. But eventually, at the time, touch wood, your spouse passes on. Now you still got the CGT factor to consider. Then you want to also have a look at something called estate duty. Estate duty is a tax that we pay when we pass away. It's levied on large estates, but you want to analyze this carefully. Again, this is why it's important to get the information upfront from a retire versus resign specialist. Remember, you're using the specialist not just for your decision. Let's say you're engaging with me. It's not just your decision on retiring or resigning. You want to make sure that you never run out of money. You want to make sure that you're keeping your taxes to a minimum, that you're able to invest money and capital is growing. So to leverage that properly, you want to start this relationship early, and notice all the elements that we're sharing here. And this is just some of it from property, right? In addition to that, you might want to do a bank investment, which I see this happening all the time from members, right? You want to invest, they consider investing money into the bank, and the reason is to secure a second income. Again, it makes sense, right? It's practical to do this because you want to back yourself up. When you put money into the bank, what you want to be mindful of is the interest. You know this now. You can see where I'm leading. That interest is another income. That income is going to be added to that 2/3 income, which means that's going to push you up the tax bracket, which means more tax. In addition to that, money that sits inside a bank account, you cannot put a beneficiary on it, which means it's forming part of your estate, which means we have to factor estate duty. And just like the property, I didn't mention it earlier, you also want to factor executive fees. So you want to make sure that you're having a look at all of these elements, because every single thing triggers some type of financial risk to you. And again, if you can get the planning done a lot earlier, this is where you can leverage the secret weapon, right? You can leverage this. And I've seen this for so many members, right? When there's time, if there's a year, 2 years, 3 years before you actually make your decision to retire, resign, you can then put yourself in a position where you can create a strong foundation. So you're making good decisions in the beginning, and it just continues to become a stronger foundation, so that in the end, when you're making your choice to retire or resign, you're not starting afresh, but you're continuing on work that you've done before. Now, I hope the video has been helpful for you. I've seen members lose hundreds of thousands of rands just by making this mistake, right? Remember, again, I'm reminding you that a retire versus resign specialist, especially someone like myself, my focus is not just to help you on that decision on retiring or resigning. My focus is to get you to a point where you never run out of money. And in order to do that, I have to make sure I'm keeping your taxes to a minimum. I've got to make sure I'm showing you how to invest money in a secure space, helping you things like medical aid. So it's not just one area, it's multiple areas that must all work together in order to make yourself a success. Now, again, I hope you found the video helpful. If you have, give me a thumbs up, post comments below, let me know what has been your takeaway from this. And if you haven't yet started on your journey, post a comment below and let me know exactly what's holding you back from kicking off. Now, if you've not already done so, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel so that I'm able to get these videos out to you as soon as I produce it. And remember to perform your one act of kindness by passing this video on to other GEPF members who might not really be aware about this kind of knowledge that's available. I'll see you on the next video.